The wind howled through the cracked windows as I stood at the entrance of the abandoned hospital. A chill ran down my spine as I looked at the decaying building in front of me. The smell of rot and neglect hung heavy in the air. For years, this place had been left alone, untouched by time. And yet it felt like something, or someone, was still here. Something dark, something that had never left. There are places in this world that are better left forgotten, hidden away from the world, but some things cannot be ignored. Some places, like this abandoned hospital, call to you. I hesitated for a moment, standing at the threshold, staring into the shadowy interior of the building. It felt like the walls themselves were alive, as if the building was breathing, watching me with an eerie awareness. The very air seemed thick with memories of things long forgotten. I had heard stories, whispers of strange happenings, disappearances, and unexplainable events, but I never imagined I would be standing here on the edge of it all. There was no going back now. The door creaked open with a disturbing groan, and I stepped inside, my heart pounding in my chest. The atmosphere was immediately oppressive. Every step I took sent dust rising from the cracked floors, disturbed only by the weight of my footsteps. The hallway stretched endlessly in front of me, a long corridor of desolation. The walls were stained with time, peeling paint, revealing the raw wood beneath. Rusted medical equipment lay discarded in corners, remnants of a place that had once served a purpose. Now it was nothing more than a graveyard of forgotten lives and memories. The silence was deafening, a heavy blanket that muffled every sound, making my footsteps sound like the loudest noise in the world. I could feel the temperature drop as I ventured deeper into the building. The chill that enveloped me was unnatural, and as I passed rooms filled with old equipment, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The walls seemed to whisper in the wind, their voices barely audible but unmistakable. There was something in this place, something I couldn't quite comprehend, something that refused to let go. As I turned a corner, I stumbled upon an old file lying on the floor. It was partially buried under the thick dust that coated the ground, the corners frayed and yellowed with age. I reached down and carefully picked it up, the brittle paper crumbling under my touch. On the top was the name Patient 107, written in smudged ink. Curiosity gnawed at me, and I opened the file, revealing an old photograph of a woman. Her face was scratched out, obscured by rough, frantic lines, but underneath the scratches, I could still make out her features. Something about her seemed strangely familiar, but I couldn't place it. My fingers lingered over the photo, the cold paper sending a shock through my skin. A sense of dread washed over me. I couldn't shake the feeling that this woman had something to do with me, that I had seen her before. But how? Was it just my imagination running wild? Or was there something more to this place than I could understand? I shuddered and placed the photo back in the file, but the image lingered in my mind, its presence seeping into my thoughts like a dark stain. I stood there for a moment, feeling the weight of the room pressing down on me. The silence was almost suffocating. Then, out of nowhere, I heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps, soft but deliberate, echoing in the distance. My heart skipped a beat, and I spun around, but the hallway was empty. I looked down at my feet, half expecting to see footprints in the dust, but there were none. The place felt even colder now, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. I continued walking, the footsteps still lingering in my ears. The hallways twisted and turned, each corner seeming to lead to another maze of darkness. It was impossible to tell how much time had passed, or how far I had gone. The building seemed endless. Every door I opened revealed more rooms filled with old, decaying furniture and rusted medical tools. The place was a relic of the past, left to rot in isolation. But as I entered one of the rooms, I froze. There, lying in the middle of the floor, was a hospital bed, still covered in yellowed sheets. The bed frame was rusted, the mattress stained with the passage of time. But what caught my attention was the object sitting at the foot of the bed, a small wooden box. I approached it cautiously, my breath coming in short gasps. There was something about the box that called to me, something that felt wrong. I knelt down and reached for the box, my fingers trembling. When I opened it, my stomach lurched. Inside was a small collection of old medical tools, but at the bottom, beneath the rusted scalpels and needles, was a photograph. I pulled it out slowly, my fingers brushing against the edges. It was a photograph of a family, smiling, happy, together. They looked like they had been taken just yesterday, their faces bright and full of life. But then, as I studied the photo closer, something struck me. One of the figures in the photo was someone I knew. It was my aunt. My mind raced as I tried to process the image. My aunt had gone missing over a decade ago, her disappearance shrouded in mystery. No one ever found out what happened to her. She was simply gone, like so many others, vanishing without a trace. But here she was, in this photograph, smiling, as if she had been part of this place all along. How could this be? Why hadn't anyone told me she had been here? The questions flooded my mind, but before I could come to any conclusions, I heard it again. The footsteps. This time, they were louder, closer. My blood ran cold as I turned toward the door. I couldn't see anyone, but I could feel the presence, feel the weight of someone or something behind me. The air grew colder still, the oppressive silence becoming unbearable. I had to leave. I turned to run, but as I did, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. My heart raced as I fumbled with the handle, but it wouldn't budge. I was trapped. The room felt smaller now, the walls pressing in on me. I turned back to the bed, searching for any escape, but there was nothing. No windows, no doors, just the suffocating darkness. Then I heard it. A low whisper, barely audible, but unmistakable. The voice sounded familiar, like a memory buried deep inside my mind, calling me, my name. But it wasn't my aunt's voice. It was something else, something that had been here far longer than I had, something that had never left. The walls seemed to close in on me, and I could feel the temperature plummet further. I was suffocating, trapped in a place that was never meant to be found. It was as if the building itself was alive, its very foundation feeding on the fear that filled the air. I tried to scream, to fight, but the words caught in my throat. My body felt heavy, like the very air was weighing me down. In that moment, I realized the truth. This hospital wasn't abandoned. It was a place that had consumed everything in its path. The missing people, the ones who had vanished. Had they ever really left? Had they been absorbed into this place, forever trapped within its walls, their souls lost to time? My aunt wasn't missing. She had become a part of this place, just like the others, her soul trapped in the darkness. And now, I was part of it too. I didn't know how long I had been there. The days, the hours, they all blurred together. The walls seemed to pulse, their whispers growing louder, calling me back, urging me to join them. The building had taken me, just as it had taken so many others before me. There was no escape. Maybe this place never lets go. Maybe I was never meant to leave. Maybe in the end, I would be just another face in the photographs, another forgotten soul wandering the endless halls of this cursed hospital. Or maybe, just maybe, the hospital itself would find someone else to take my place. I don't know how long I've been here. I don't know if I'll ever leave. But one thing is certain. I'm not the last to walk these halls.